Hey there, Hugo. Hope you guys are having a great time up in the mountains. As your video lesson for today, three things I want to talk about. I'll go down the list. And as usual, if you want me to look at anything, feel free to shoot a message on over and I'll do my best to answer. Let's get to it. So first thing is a little bit of theory stuff we need to understand first. And there's a concept called enharmonic tones. Enharmonic tones. And what that means is that notes have two names, some three, depending on the situation, right? The reason why they have the multiple names or two or more names is not important right now. The important thing is just to understand that notes have a couple of names, and depends on the situation. Like I said, later on, I promise I'll explain to you the reason why. Is this if I gave you that explanation now, it'd be super confusing, and you would look at me with a blank stare and get super frustrated at me. So we're not going to do that part of it, but it is a concept that you can understand. The first thing is that, take for example, I'll do this example right here. Let's find a on the guitar. So we have, let's see, turn the amp on. There we go. Clean. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna find the note A on this guitar. So we go E, there we go, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. There she is, and the note A. And if I go up one fret right here, we call that A sharp, right? You know that already. And if I go down here, that's a G sharp right there. But what you can do is, rather than calling this an A sharp, if I go up here to this note right here, which is a B, right? So I've gone E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B. If I go down one fret from B, if I go this way, B, if I go down here to this note one fret lower than the B, what we can do is we can call that note B flat. I flatten the notes, I smush the note down to the sixth fret, and so instead of calling that an A sharp, I've called it a B flat. Is there a reason why I would call it a B flat versus A sharp? Absolutely. We'll talk about that later. Just understand right now that that note is an A sharp, and it's also a B flat. That holds true of all the A sharps and all the B flats. So for example, if I come over here and I find A, right? So I have my A right here, and I go up one, two frets, that note right there is a B, right? You can do your magic, you can do your root 5 notes. A sharp, B, the same way that you targeted the E's when you're doing your blues soloing. It's the same thing we're going to do now with the B flats, which is the same thing as an A sharp, sound-wise. So you can say that your A sharp here on the 13th fret, that is also known as a B flat, right? So this note right here is a B flat. Why do we want to call it B flat? Super important reason. We're not going to talk about it yet, because I want you to get this under your fingers first, and then when you're in the room we can talk more about that. Okay. So we have a B flat, and I have my root 6 magic triangle. Remember, down 2 strings over 2 frets gives me the same note. B flat, and then that same trick going over 1, 2, 3, 4 frets down a string. B flat, because this note right here at the 12th fret is a B, double dot, that's the note B right there. If I go one lower, there she is, that's a B flat all day long. Right? In this situation, it's a B flat all day long. Sometimes it's an A sharp, let's not worry about that. So we have B flat, B flat, B flat. So what I would practice first is just finding those B flats and saying to yourself, this is a B flat, B flat, B flat, B flat, B flat, B flat. I'm not too worried about that, because you've done really well with targeting your note names or targeting your certain notes, especially with that note E right there. So what does that mean then? If I go and I play an E minor pentatonic box 1 at the 12th fret, Old Faithful, we have an E minor pentatonic scale. Right? oops, your Old Faithful go-to scale. Now, what happens is, if I do this, E minor pentatonic box 1. I add that B flat to the scale. A, B flat, B, so I went 12. I'll tab this out too, so you have the tab in front of you. Right, and then I go another 12, 14, 12, 14. Ooh, there's my next B flat. I now have not just an E minor pentatonic scale, I've changed it, I've added to the scale, and by adding an extra note to it, it is no longer a pentatonic scale, it is now a blues scale. So this scale is called E blues, and it's used all over rock and blues and country and jazz and every other kind of popular style I can think of. Maybe in classical, if I look hard enough, I might find an example. But adding that note to the scale creates not just an E minor pentatonic scale, but now we've changed it. It now becomes the blues scale. Right? So if I play that scale, oops, right? I've played the E blues scale. And if I play that song Sweet Home Chicago that we were working on, I put my looper. See what I did there? I landed on the E's. On the E's, and I was also targeting those B flats right there too. You have more bluesy sound. Like I said, you find this all over. Actually, one of the places you find it actually a lot in is in grunge music from the early mid '90s into kind of like the late '90s ish, sort of towards the end. And then actually you find a lot in doom metal. So like a lot of Black Sabbath, you find this in, or High on Fire, bands like that. You'll find a lot of the blues scale. So it's a very popular scale, and so it's one of the first ones that we show on after doing the minor pentatonic is doing a blues scale. Cool. So like I said, I'll write out the E blues scale that we have in front of you to follow along, and I'll circle those B flats in there. But you can practice your root 5 magic triangle, and it'll spit out those B flats for you. And we'll talk more about that next week too. All right, then number 2 is continuing our work on partial bar chords. I gave them to you a few weeks ago as a primer, as a technique builder for something we're going to do later on, and we're getting close. Actually, we actually got to where we're going to use them, so we've been practicing them. But I'm going to go over the technique one more time. So with these right here, remember, you're always pointing at yourself with these particular bar chords. And later on, they're different, but these partial ones should be pointed back at yourself. Get your pyramid finger right here, right? Nice steep pyramid. Bring that around to the face of the guitar, the fretboard, and then notice right here I am playing an A5 power chord. I'm playing 5, 4, 3. Notice how close I am to the bottom of the fretboard, to the bottom of the neck. I am not down here like this. I am up higher. Notice the steep angle. I'm actually like literally touching the fretboard with this part of my finger right here. It's important with this chord that we don't go too far. You don't want that note to ring out. So you have this chord right here. Remember, you're pointing at yourself diagonally back this way, and it's pretty flat. There's a slight bend in the finger right here, a hyperextension, but it's nothing crazy. It's not like this. It's not like doing this chord right here, that shape right there. So practice your A5. And then hopping down to the next thing is Sweet Home Chicago. And the first thing I want you to practice those E and A riffs. Remember, the E riff is the one that's on the tab. It's marked, it's E5, I want to say in the riff. No, this is marked E and A. So you have your first little pattern right there. 2, 2. Am I fretting the fifth string, second fret? 2, 2. And then the second finger grabs the third fret, and then the third finger grabs the fourth fret. So that part right there, that's going on the fifth string with the sixth string being open. So it's important to keep your fingers over top of the fretboard, or over top of the respective frets. You don't want to be doing a whole lot of this. It's a wasted motion. Keep those fingers right over top. So the E riff. Hop down to that same exact thing, just starting on the fifth and fourth string. So notice my first finger here is on the second fret of the fourth string. That same walking finger, instead of happening on the sixth string, it's happening on the fifth string. Put together sounds like something like this. And I put that in my looper. Works over top of that. Go see that scale later on. There's many variations on the pentatonic scale. There's a ton of them actually. That we'll learn over the course of the years. So awesome, there's that right there. And then the last thing with Sweet Home Chicago is the turnaround section, the B5 to the B flat. You'll see it in the music right here on your handout. It doesn't show you the B flat, but it's there. I'll show you what to do. So I have in the handout over here, I've worked out this rhythm for you. This happens where it has the B5. I've changed the rhythm slightly. This is going to be nice for a student version of the song, and then once you get this down, well, then we'll do the version that's on the Blues Brothers changes. So if you notice right here, I have these rhythms here called eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's the same thing that you were doing before. Oops. That's the same thing that you were doing before with the walking part for Sweet Home Chicago. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you're going to find yourself a B5 right here. 1 and 2 and 3 and scooch down here for the first fret to B flat, because this is A sharp, B flat. So you're at the first fret. I tabbed it out for you here too, so you have that power chord. So you have a B5 for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then to the A5, your brand new chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and one more time like this. B flat 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and oops. Pay attention. Cool, man. So work on this part separately, and then what we'll work on is how to connect all the pieces together, and then that way we'll have all the changes for Sweet Home Chicago, and we'll turn it into a nice blues jam tune for you. Awesome. Like I said, if you have any questions or want to look at anything, have your dad shoot me over a message, and I'll be more than happy to answer. All right, I'll see you the same time next time. Bye.